2010, as an April Fool's joke, I inducted Jeopardy into game show garbage. Yeah, it got me into a little bit of a hot water situation there, but you know what? It was meant to be an April Fool's joke. The same way for a commentary, I roasted the new Let's Make a Deal with Wayne Brady, saying it was an absolute zonk of a show. Well, times have changed. I love both shows now. That's why, for 26 Weeks or Less, I am going back in time to 1978 and talking about the shortest-lived incarnation of both shows. That's right, Jeopardy from 1978.
This is Jeopardy! Now entering the studio are today's contestants. First, a program administrator from Irvine, California, Doug Wilson. And a textbook sales representative from Santa Monica, Susan Saltrick. And our returning champion, a laboratory instructor from Los Angeles, California, who so far has won a total of $24,525, Charlie Sider.
Nearly 4 years after being canceled by NBC, Jeopardy returned to the airwaves on October of 1978. Much like its predecessor, Jeopardy pit 3 contestants against one another in a classic answer and question game. Instead of the classic game that everyone fondly remembered, some new wrinkles were added to the game to make it more like the game shows of the time, offering a big money cash prize at the end, among other things as well. You know what? I have to admit, this year has sucked. I mean, everything from a pandemic to the annoyance of Los Angeles sports fans lording over everyone because they won the NBA championship, they won the World Series. I think everybody just needs to relax a bit, and I think I just need to say 3 words. And producer, do you think you remember what those 3 words are? Yeah, you do.
Huh?
You do. You know what those words are?
What?
Roll the intro!
One thing was for sure. They both believe Sparks to be a total 2.
Be an exciting contest which shows that divorced couples can still have fun together, right?
Mythological hero Achilles. C. On the spot dice spin.
We are experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by.
Merry Christmas, everyone! It's back! Yes, it's back! And I am not gonna mince words about Jeopardy 78.
Whoa, wait, stop. Hi, Cyndi. It's me, your old buddy Brian Henniger. You know, the guy who graciously filled in for you a few months back on Game Show Gumbo, and the guy who wrote an article for you once, and the guy that's been your friend for the last, 25 years or so? Yeah, that guy. Now, look. How long have we known each other? Quite a while, right? And a little birdie told me, a little birdie whose name may or may not rhyme with Messica Grand, that you were actually going to be inducting Jeopardy into game show garbage. You are going to be inducting the single greatest quiz show into game show garbage. Well, see, I heard that and I kind of went off the deep end a little bit, but I did so for a good reason. You see, I'm not going to let this happen. So I did something about it. See, I hired a couple of friends of mine who have connections that I can actually discuss right now, and I have found a way to take over your YouTube channel. Yeah, see, I have access to all of the files on your computer and anyone who works with game show garbage. And I am going to do everything within my power to keep you from inducting my favorite game show into game show garbage. Now, what do you think about that?
Brian, what the hell are you doing? If you want to know why I was inducting this show, all you had to do was ask. We're friends on Facebook. We're in the same chat group where we talk about stuff like this. I know I had to keep it secret for you because I didn't want anything of it to leak. But you know what? Since you have the access to all of my files and all of the game show garbage / game show gumbo files, read the script. It explains everything.
Wait, read the script? Well, actually, yeah, I did print it out. I mean, I was going to offer it up as a burnt offering, but okay, I'll read it, sure. Let's see here. What is it? Cyndi, it's called Spell Check. It's not expensive. Let's see. Wait a minute. You're inducting Jeopardy 78? You're inducting Jeopardy 78. Not the original version from the 60s and not the current version, but that version. The version that completely ganked the format and the version that completely ruined Jeopardy in daytime? That's the one you're doing? Oh, this is awkward. You know what? Forget everything I just said. You see, I was kind of on edge, with the whole holidays coming up and the whole pandemic thing and all the work I've been doing for my millionaire show on BuzzIn. The one that's on every 2 weeks at twitch.tv.bzntv. Watch it, it's fun. I got kind of nervous and sort of overreacted a little bit, so I'm just going to say I'm sorry, and you can do the interview, and smoke bomb!
I've said this a while, and I'll say it again. I hate crossovers on my channel. Especially interruptions. Oh yeah, Jeopardy 78. Apparently this version of Jeopardy has a code name in the offices of Sony. It was called Jeopardy Mach 2. Honestly, I prefer the You Don't Know Jack version of calling it Mach 2, since both of them share the same aspects compared to their predecessors. While both are the same core game, it comes off as a shallower experience compared to what preceded it. Jack Mach 2 had a lot less content on the one disc that it shipped with than the original that had 2 discs, and it looked a lot cheaper. Jeopardy's Mach 2 looked and execution left a lot to be desired, and didn't live up to the standards that the original had set. And there are a few things really, really wrong about this show. I mean really, really wrong about this show. And we're going to talk to them a bit. But now let's talk about the best thing about this show, bar none, Art Fleming.
And now, entering the studio is the host of Jeopardy, Art Fleming.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, John Harlan. Thank you, my friends. Thank you so much. And, of course, thank you, our players. Thank you. And welcome to Jeopardy, America's favorite answer and question game.
Art Fleming was the original host of Jeopardy, dating back to the show's inception in 1964. On this show, Art was the consummate professional, and I have nothing bad to say about his hosting whatsoever. Honestly, as I said prior, Art was the absolute best thing about this incarnation. What he didn't hold back from later on interviews was the move the show made from New York to Burbank. In interviews afterwards, he would go on to say that moving the show and having it become more Hollywood made it feel dumber and less realistic. We'll talk more about that and how it relates to this version and the later Trebek version later on. I will say it in regards to this version, the set, I really don't like it at all. The color combination of black, white, and red for the set pieces and background is a bit of an eyesore in my opinion. Not only that, trying to make the 8-sided star-shaped thing a feature of the show didn't do it for me at all. Especially with it being in the background with the name of the show going around it and not being pleasant on the eyes at all hits hard for me as well. Honestly, it tried too hard to look like the game shows of the time. And now let's talk about the core gameplay. It's the same old answer question game as it was back in the 60s and 70s and currently going on today. You get the answer, you come up with the question, get money if it's right, lose money if it's wrong. They didn't tinker with that. But what they did tinker with was everything else around it, from the format that was only on the air 3 years ago and was still having board games made of it even after the show went off. For starters, the show decided that an elimination format was a good idea for the show to have. After the Jeopardy round has ended, the player with the least amount of money is eliminated. This quickly takes away from one of the best bits of drama for the show. seeing a third place contestant come back from the brink at the end of the Jeopardy round to potentially win the day and the right to come back tomorrow at the end of Double Jeopardy and for Final Jeopardy. And this follows up with Double Jeopardy only being a 2-player affair, and the person with the most money at the end of the Double Jeopardy round wins the entire game. Once again, drama is lost with this. In this instance, if both daily doubles are gone and one player has a massive lead, they could sit on their hands and not do anything, or even play defense and just win the game outright. This also suffers from that third player who would have been there to try to scrape and claw their way back into the game being gone. What also suffers is the loss of Final Jeopardy. Oh, that's right, Final Jeopardy is gone. The last gambit for lots of players to make a big wager to try to win the game is now gone, and that piece of drama, along with the show's iconic Think music, is gone as well, leaving, in my opinion, a hollow husk of a game. I guess Merv Griffin had to change things up in order to make the show more pleasing to network executives. I know he shot a pilot in '77 called The All New Jeopardy! I don't know if it had these changes into it, but it would be interesting to see. However, with all of those changes, the absolute worst change that Jeopardy ever made for this version, well, it's a bonus game. And yes, Super Jeopardy! Jeopardy's idea of a bonus game that wasn't a bonus at all. In Super Jeopardy, the champion is shown aboard of 25 boxes with 5 categories. The contestant must get 5 in a row right, either across, up and down, or diagonally. Each correct answer is worth $100, whereas getting 5 in a row wins a bonus, which starts at $5,000 and grows by $2,500 each time a champion goes back to the Super Jeopardy board. Doing the math, if a champion goes to the board 5 times and wins all 5 times, they would win $50,000. Functionally, it's fine. Many game shows in the future would have a variant of this bonus game. The most direct one would be Trump Card, but the best one would be Blockbusters and the Gold Run board. The biggest problem whatsoever is that it's not Jeopardy! Viewers are trained well as to what Jeopardy was, which is why when Merv rebooted the show in the 80s, he stuck to what worked in the 60s and the 70s, ignoring almost everything that happened in the 70s in the 78 version. This felt like something tacked on because everyone else during this period had a bonus game to wow viewers with big money payouts. Going back to what Art said about the show feeling artificial, this is the big point about the bonus game in the show in general. Jeopardy had more from a show showing off what you knew into just another game show. And that's probably the most damning statement anybody could make about a version of Jeopardy. It's just another game show. What also didn't help was the time slot it was in at the start. Premiering at 10:30 in the morning, it would replace Hollywood Squares as that show had moved to 1 p.m. With the show dying there due to mixed reviews and being slaughtered by The Price is Right in the ratings, NBC decided it would be best to move the show back to its original noon time slot. There, it would meet a dearth of preemptions for local news broadcasts and disinterest in the show. The show would be put out of its misery on March 2nd, 1979. Jeopardy 78, much like Card Sharks in 2001, much like Temptation in 2007, much like American Gladiators in 2008, were clear cases on how not to update a format. Thankfully, when the show got revived again in 1984, everything went back to the way it was in the 60s and 70s version, and that's why Sony pretty much ignores this version of Jeopardy! Let's face it, Jeopardy 78 sucked. The end! Mercifully, that is it for this edition of Game Show Garbage. Yep. It's coming back, and I'll explain more in a 2021 What's Coming Up video, or the year upcoming. You know what I mean with those type of videos, is kind of what we plan on doing in 2021. And if you want to help out with that, become a Patreon backer at patreon.com/gameshowgumbo, where you get a whole lots of perks, bonuses, and maybe see videos a day or two in advance. Maybe this one, maybe future Game Show Garbage videos, who knows? But once again, for 2020, thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing to this channel, loving the videos that we came out with the home game, and we'll hopefully see a lot more of you in 2021. I'm Cyndi Seidelman, and until next time, bye bye!
Henniger can access our files? Delete. Delete. Definitely delete. What? It's my banking information, my social, and my Netflix password. Get your mind out of the gutter.